Today, we are taking a look at Tuni's new E2 espresso machine. It's already the third generation. 2 years ago, I shared their first generation E2, which already had a very compact body and dual thermoblocks that let you switch from brewing to steaming seamlessly. This third generation not only has a completely redesigned look, but it also brings real upgrades to both steam power and extraction. I'll walk you through all the details. Let's start with the unboxing and accessories. This time, Tuni includes a full box of accessories, so most of the things you need for espresso at home are already there. First, you get a solid 58mm portafilter and a cleaning disc, which means this machine supports backflushing, and that is always nice to see. There is also a metal tamper with a wooden handle, plus a stainless steel milk pitcher. If you want to make milk drinks, that pitcher is essential, so it's great that it comes in the box. You also get a dosing ring to help keep your puck prep more tidy. It comes with 4 baskets, 2 non-pressurized and 2 pressurized, so both beginners and more experienced users are covered. There is a small spoon included as well. I am not sure why Tuni still calls this model E2, because this new generation actually looks completely different from the original one. The cream white color matches their G2 and G3 grinders really well. The body is mostly metal, with a shiny trim around the top cup area and the edges, and a metal body usually holds up better over time. Compared with the first generation, I think the design looks cleaner and a bit more premium now, with softer, more rounded corners instead of sharp edges. The size is slightly larger than the first E2, but only a little, so it still does not take up much counter space. The control panel has also changed from touch buttons to physical buttons, and I personally like this more solid, clicky style. The pressure gauge is still there, but it does not show actual bar numbers. I tested it with a separate pressure gauge, so you can get a rough idea of how much pressure each mark in the red zone represents. If you go past around 15 bars, the pump will automatically stop working. If this happens, you need to grind a bit coarser. On the other hand, if the needle does not reach the red zone at all, you need to grind finer. The steam wand can move freely, and it now has a 3-hole steam tip. The wand is clearly longer than on the first and second generation, which makes it easier to find a good angle when you use a larger milk pitcher, while the old wand was more suitable for pitchers under about 450 milliliters. The previous versions used a solenoid system that activated steam when you tapped the steam touch button. On this new one, Tuni added a steam knob, and inside it should be a copper valve now, instead of relying only on the solenoid. All 3 generations use a 58mm commercial size brew group, but the Gen 3 group is fully metal. When you remove the shower screen, you can also see metal parts inside, and the thermoblock sits directly above the group, so it can heat the group head passively. The portafilter has also been changed from a 3-tab design to a standard 2-tab design, which means it can fit many E61 style handles. This makes it more flexible if you already own other portafilters. The drip tray capacity is slightly larger now, and you can see a drain outlet inside, which is used for pressure release and for backflushing with the cleaning disc. The first generation did not have a 3-way solenoid valve, but Tuni added it on the second generation, and that feature continues here. On the side, there are new ventilation cutouts. The water tank has a clear scale, so you can see how much water is left, and the total capacity is about 1.3 liters, which is decent for home use. In terms of controls, you still get 4 main buttons. If you press auto once, the machine will start an automatic shot with a short pre-infusion, and then stop at a preset volume. If you double tap the auto button, the machine switches to a higher temperature brewing mode. The manual says the 2 modes are around 92 degrees and 94 degrees Celsius. I tested this using a basket with a built-in temperature probe. Because the basket itself was not fully preheated, there was some heat loss, so the reading was a bit lower than the actual temperature, but you can clearly see about a 3-degree difference between the 2 modes. For lighter roasted beans, you can try the higher temperature mode to see if it brings out more flavor from the coffee. The manual mode is simple. It lets you start and stop shots manually, and it also includes pre-infusion and that higher temperature option. Like the earlier E2 models, the Gen 3 uses a single pump with dual thermoblocks. After you pull a shot, you do need to press the steam button to switch to steam mode. But once the indicator flashes 4 times, you're ready to steam. The steam output is very strong. When you're done, press the steam button again to exit, and you can immediately go back to brewing. So in practice, the workflow feels almost seamless. If you double tap the steam button, you enter what they call super steam mode. You'll see the indicator light change to a deeper blue. It takes a little longer to ramp up, around 10 seconds or a bit more, but the steam power is even higher, and you can hear the pump running more frequently with a faster, more continuous sound. This mode is better suited for larger milk pitchers. As you can see from the steam performance, Super Steam is much more powerful and it creates a vortex almost instantly. However, the regular steam mode is already more than enough for daily use. Let's talk about extraction performance. By default, the machine gives you about 3 seconds of pre-infusion and around 10 grams of water before full pressure. Because the thermoblock is directly above the brew group, the group head gets noticeably warm a few minutes after you turn the machine on. I tested this again with that temperature probe basket. The room temperature was around 26 degrees. Once I locked in the portafilter, the temperature climbed quickly. While you're getting your puck ready, you can take a moment to preheat the basket and brew group, which helps reduce heat loss and improves stability. Let's pull some shots to check its performance. For the first test, I used 18 grams of beans, ground on the G3 grinder. The G3 is a 64mm flat burr grinder with stepless adjustment and a fast grind speed, which works nicely for home espresso. I have a separate review of the G3, and I'll leave the link in the description. The included dosing ring is quite useful, but personally, I wish they had chosen a design that sits on top of the basket rim instead of going deep inside the basket. With this inner style ring, you get a small gap around the edge and need to tidy up the surface after WDT. That said, having a dosing ring included is already a nice bonus. This is just a small suggestion. The tamper, on the other hand, feels great. It is solid and has a good weight, and it helps you get a flat, even surface. Locking in the portafilter feels smooth and secure. Compared with the older E2, the brew pressure on this Gen 3 is slightly lower. If your gauge needle does not reach the red area, you can grind finer or switch to fresher beans. On my unit, the second mark in the red zone corresponds to around 10 bars. The flow rate remains very consistent throughout the entire shot, holding steady at around 1.2 to 1.5 grams per second. You also do not see that sudden spike in flow rate toward the end of the shot, which is a very common issue on some home machines. Thanks to the 3-way solenoid, the pressure drops immediately when the pump stops, so the puck does not keep dripping. The shot I pulled with this setup had a thick golden crema, and both the texture and temperature were very good. I also tested the G2 grinder with this machine. The G2 uses conical burrs, so the particle distribution is different from the flat burr G3. The fine range is still wide enough for espresso, but again, if you see low pressure, do not be afraid to adjust finer. On that shot, the pressure sat around 9 to 10 bars, with a flow rate of about 1.3 to 1.5 grams per second, and the flow stayed steady throughout the extraction. For a home espresso machine, this level of consistency is quite impressive. With fresh beans and a dialed-in grind, the E2 Gen 3 can pull very convincing espresso at home without too much effort. Now let's look at the cold brew feature. The E2 Gen 3 adds a special cold brew mode. When the machine is completely cooled down, you can long press the power button to enter this mode. You'll see the indicator light turn a deep blue. In cold brew mode, the thermoblock does not heat, so the water stays at room temperature. You can use the same dose, same espresso grind, and same puck prep as your normal hotshot. Fill a glass with ice cubes, then start the extraction. In this mode, the machine does not hit the puck with full pressure like a regular espresso shot. Instead, it uses pulses of lower pressure over a longer time. This helps increase extraction even at lower temperatures. The result is a cold brew shot that still has a nice layer of crema, and in summer, a glass of this over ice is very satisfying. You can also experiment with a slightly coarser grind if you want less bitterness and more acidity and sweetness. Many espresso machines now offer some kind of cold brew or cold extraction feature, and each brand takes a different approach. Tuni's long pulsed extraction strategy here keeps the overall strength from dropping too much, so it is worth trying if you enjoy cold coffee drinks. For me, the steam performance is one of the biggest highlights of this machine. Unlike many home machines that spit out a bit of condensation before real steam, the E2 Gen 3 gives you steam immediately without spraying water first. The 3-hole tip delivers a lot of steam power, and the steam is also reasonably dry. There is a clear difference between regular steam and super steam. Most of the time, regular steam is already more than enough. If you use a small milk pitcher and switch to super steam, the milk can rise very quickly and overflow. But for bigger pitchers, around 600 milliliters or more, super steam makes it easier to create a proper vortex and shorten steaming time. In practice, I like to pull the espresso shot first. Once the shot is done, I press the steam button to switch modes. It takes only a few seconds. With the 3-hole tip, you do not need to inject air for too long. About 2 to 3 seconds is enough to introduce bubbles. After that, focus on maintaining a smooth vortex, folding those bubbles into the milk until the pitcher feels hot to the touch. This usually takes around 30 seconds. The resulting milk foam has a nice silky texture. It is easy enough to pour latte art, and you can make all kinds of milk drinks at home. Cleaning is also straightforward. The pressure releases right after a shot, so you can remove the portafilter immediately. The puck comes out relatively dry, which makes it easier to knock out. For backflushing, just insert the blind cleaning disc into the basket, lock in the portafilter, and start a shot. The water will push back through the brew path and exit into the drip tray. If you use the machine daily, I recommend doing a backflush at least once a week to keep the group head in good shape. This 3rd generation E2 builds nicely on the first 2 versions and refines many details. There are many choices in this price range for home espresso machines, and this is definitely one that is worth considering. If you pair it with the G2 grinder, or even upgrade to the G3, this setup offers strong performance and good value for a home espresso station. If you have any questions about the E2 Gen 3, or want me to compare it with other machines you're looking at, let me know in the comments. If you found this review helpful, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more reviews like this. Thanks for watching.